source for everything paranormal. Para-X. The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Para-X, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
Merry meet and merry part, bright the cheeks and warm the heart. But tread the circle thrice about, to keep unwelcome spirits out. Abide within the law you must, in perfect love and perfect trust. Mind the threefold laws you should, 3 times bad and 3 times good. These 8 words the read fulfill, and ye harm none, do what ye will.
Welcome to Stirring the Cauldron. Now, here's your host, Marla Brooks.
Merry meet everybody, and welcome to Stirring the Cauldron. Now, tonight my guest is from the New England Ghost Project, as well as the host of Ghost Chronicles, and he's my favorite East Coast Van Helsing, and it's Ron Kolek. And I thought this is a good night to kind of have maybe a get-to-know Ron better type show. So I've got a few things that maybe you don't know about Ron, but we're afraid to ask. So also, though, some of you in the chat room, feel free to ask questions to Ron about paranormal investigations, ghosts in general, his shows, his adventures along the lines, and you know, whatever comes to mind. And if you're listening live and you're not in the chat room, you can come join us at paraxradionetwork.com. All right then, Van Helsing, how are you?
You know, better than nothing. That's what my wife says.
Okay, well, that's a wise comment. And so I know I might have asked you before.
I'm sure you have.
But I have no recollection of what you said if I did. So can you please remind me where and how your Van Helsing moniker came to pass?
Oh my God, that's old as I am, which is.
But I don't remember, and I'm as old as bread.
Yeah.
So yeah, remind me.
Well, I mean, most people, you know, they hear Van Helsing and they think of, you know, the vampire killer, right? But you have to look into it a little bit more because Van Helsing was actually a man of science. But he was also versed in the arts and the crafts. So that's kind of what I do. You know, I have a degree in environmental science, worked on the space program and all that other crap. And but yet I still, I take Reiki classes, I took dowsing classes. I mean, to try to understand all these other modalities other than just strictly science. So if I'm going to criticize something, I want to be, I at least have to try to understand it. So that's how Van Helsing is. He's a man of science, but he's versed in the arts and the crafts.
And he's open-minded.
Sure, if you say so.
Well, you have to be. I mean, well, there are people that are completely scientific and, everything is black and white. And yes. There is no possibility of anything unless it's written in some kind of science book or something, right?
Yeah, I mean, that word science gets battered around all over the place, but, most people who use it don't even really understand why they're using it. They think if I use the word science, it gives validity to what I do. And just because you use an instrument doesn't mean you're doing science. You could be doing science, but it's like a modality, really. It's science is a method, and people associate instruments with science, so they say we're doing science, but in reality, they really aren't. So anyway.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's confusing because I always hear people all the time, well, there is not any scientific proof for that. Well, you know what? There's a lot of things that they probably believe in that don't come up with scientific proof either.
Right. People believe in God, but there's no scientific proof that God exists. People, we know that gravity is, but we don't understand how gravity works in reality. What gravity actually is. We know the effects of gravity, so therefore, but what is gravity in itself is not truly understand.
And I don't understand a lot that might be scientific, but it's like computers, TV things coming down from up in the sky down into your thing, into your TV. I mean, there's just all this stuff that I just don't get. And it is scientific, but you can't, it's not tactile scientific. It's, it's there, but you can't touch it or see it.
The other thing is, that it's the reverse too. Is if you can't find an explanation, a scientific explanation, one that's based on science for something, then it must be paranormal. That's not necessarily true. If it's not, then it's unexplained, not necessarily paranormal.
Well, don't you think paranormal is a funny word in a sense because of normal? Because a lot of people think that most things paranormal are not normal, whereas most of us kind of say, well, yeah, that's the norm.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
I mean, I don't know. People look at words and define them not necessarily from
that's the problem is we have to tack, words onto things and I don't know.
Labels.
Yep.
Labels.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, okay. Well, that now people know that you are a man of science and not, some guy that has a Igor to call upon.
Well, maybe I do too.
Well,
I'm not going to mention
that. Yeah, I thought about that. You might have an Igor, and maybe that's why you have a fly collection or something, because, give him a fly every now and then, and he's happy, right?
There you go. My wife gives me a piece of cucumber and gives me a pat on the head, so I'm her Igor.
She's a very smart woman, that one. All right, so we know that you're a man who wears many hats. And I know about...
Guy is a better word. I never consider myself a man.
Okay. I know you're a guy who wears many hats. Now it sounds like a Seinfeld joke. But I know about most of your paranormal interests. Well, some of them anyway. But I didn't know that you like flowers and plants. So I want to hear about your recent visit to a place that houses one of the weirdest plants known to mankind. And it's kind of the paranormal sounding corpse flower. Yeah,
which is really not that paranormal, but...
the name, it's corpse, paranormal, blah.
Yeah, actually the Venus flytrap is a more paranormal plant than the corpse plant is in reality.
Yeah.
I mean, the corpse plant is just basically a big, ugly plant that stinks.
But only when it blooms.
Only when it blooms. And the reason it does that is because it wants to attract flies.
Mm-hmm. So it smells like, dead bodies and things.
Yeah.
So what made you interested in it?
But the flies, they don't eat the flies.
No.
Not like Venus flytrap. All they just attract them to pollinate. That's all.
Right.
It's like flowers in the States attracting bees, to pollinate. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
But in the particular region of the jungles, it's more of flies than it is bees. So
I think I read that it came from Indonesia originally.
There's several locations for the thing, but yeah, this one here comes. The one I saw came from Sumatra, I believe. Jan and I saw. Yeah.
Okay, so what drove you to go visit it?
Because it's cool.
Okay.
I mean, that's one of the reasons I do this, is because it's cool. I want to learn. I mean, quite frankly, the whole reason we're on this planet is to learn, and we keep learning until we die, and our opinions should alter along the way as we learn more and more. I mean, if you look, when Steve Parson, of course, he's one of the top parapsychologists in the UK, when he first came over here, I showed him some articles that were written about me, one in Women's World and another one from another magazine and everything else, and I showed it to him, and then I gave him some later ones too, and he pointed out, he says, you changed. I says, yeah, I should. The more you do things, the more you learn things and study things, the more your opinion should change. You should become more learned.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just think with this plant, I know we've got one about 15 miles from here from a botanical garden.
Have you seen it?
No, and I want to go when it blooms. And it only blooms for like 24 hours. Mm. And then you have to make a reservation at this botanical garden for it.
Really?
And because the room that it's in only holds 25 people at a time. And so, I mean, and this one's a huge one.
Define huge.
Well, it's when the flower is in bloom, it's 98.5 inches tall, which is a foot taller than Shaquille O'Neal. That's what I was.
Okay, yeah. So it's a little bigger than the one that we saw. The one we saw was probably about 7 feet tall. So
yeah.
But it is a tree, you know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Has yours been named?
They actually had a Facebook contest, and they named it V or something like that. I forget, it's short for something or other, but it was a dumb name. I didn't like it.
Okay, well, ours is called Sentinental, Scent.
I think they should all be called Morticia.
Well, that would be good.
There is one called Morticia, which is why they couldn't name it that. And there's another one that's called, who's the bald-headed guy in the Addams Family?
Fester.
Uncle Fester, yeah. There's different ones like that. So,
well, Fester would be a good name for it because they say that sometimes people go in there when it's in bloom and they know it's going to smell bad, but they go in and they walk right out. I mean, they just cannot take it. It's really, really, yeah.
I mean, this one was really amazing because there was no lines, no nothing. You just could walk into the greenhouse and they took you over there. And if you wanted to, if you wanted any questions or anything, they answered your questions for you. In fact, I did a little interview with the woman for Patreon listeners. So that's on our Patreon page, Ghost Chronicles Radio on Patreon. But they were, it's Noonan's Florist here in Massachusetts and Georgetown, and they're very friendly people. But the funny part about it, right? I came in there and I spoke to the woman. She was one of the owners, and so I said, okay, I did the interview, and I said, okay, now it'll be on. She said, oh, what show is it going to be on? I says, oh, don't laugh, but we talk about all different things. But it's Ghost Chronicles. And she broke out with her story and told me a story that she lived. And not only that, she says, I gave my card and all that. And so I was looking around a little bit more. And then also she came back and she said, this is my brother Steve. He's the owner of the place. And he's got a story he wants to share with you. It's like, oh, my God.
Where you go. I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
And, a lot of these people have these stories and want to tell them, but they're afraid to because somebody's going to laugh at them. But when somebody like you walks in and, Ghost Chronicles and everything, they are so happy to get it off their chest and talk about it to somebody who's not going to make fun of them.
Yeah. What's funny is I used to serve on the Harvard Pilgrim Appeals Board, and I sat on that board with the top echelon of Harvard Pilgrim. And we had the heads of the psychology department, sociology, internal medicine, lawyers, operating managers, the whole spiel. And, I'd always have to go to the meetings early because I wanted to know what I was up to. And they always had their own stories they wanted to share. So it was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I'm going to try and get there next year to see this.
Yeah.
To Centennial.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I saw it, Centennial. I mean, I knew it was a play on words with the cent written, but I thought, is this 100 years old plant or what? But apparently not. I don't know how old it is, but yeah, I want to go see it when it's in bloom.
Yeah, I mean, it's wicked cool, but it's a plant.
Yeah.
I have my degree in environmental science so I took botany and all those other sciences as well. In fact, when I had my manufacturing company, it was an environmental company, and we manufactured an item which actually found the prototype the other day when I was cleaning out something. It's called the plant talker, and it was actually a biofeedback device for plants that I sold to colleges and schools. And that was a cool thing. I want to get that up and running again because that was really cool. I mean, we think of plants. Yeah, I love this because the PETA people. It's like, save the animals, and they're all vegetarians. Well, plants are sensitive too, by the way, and you can see that the plant talker actually demonstrated that, and it was kind of cool. They react to different stimuli as well, like smoke and fire and people. They like some people, they don't like other people.
Yeah, and then you think, oh God, now we're being cannibalistic to plants.
Yeah, I mean you got to eat something. I mean that's what nature is.
Here's the thing. Like if you get lettuce, you can pick, you don't have to pull out the whole head of lettuce. You can pick off the leaves, like people that grow them in the gardens. They don't keep putting in seeds. They just pull up the leaves. So,
right.
And that's what they're there for.
It still hurts.
Yeah, I know. It makes me feel bad.
Well,
however.
Not as bad as about your poor turtle.
Oh, God. Yeah. Let's not go there. But it's it's really interesting that people don't think that plants have. Well, they're sentient beings in a sense. I mean, and I love like the prayer plant, and there's something called a mimosa plant, and I think it might be one and the same. But all you have to do is touch it, and it closes up. I mean, it's really cute. I want to get one of them.
There was some research just recently recently in the past few years that how the trees in forests actually communicate with each other.
Yes.
Which was intriguing, very intriguing. Mm-hmm. So I kind of believe in that Star Wars philosophy where the forces and everything. So I really do. I think there is an energy force in most items on this earth and other places else.
There is, and I'm really curious because I think I mentioned to you that I'm doing a new Oracle deck, and it's called the Spirits of the Garden Oracle deck, and it's about communing with plant spirits. Each card is giving a message from the spirit of that particular plant, and I'm just really curious to see what's going on there because I talk to my plants, And if you make nice, they're nice with you. And so, it's going to be really interesting. Nicholas Pearson, my crystal guy, is also doing some stuff on there with some crystals and plants, coordinating them. Cool. And he's also doing a couple of chapters on talking to your plant spirits, and not necessarily the plant spirits, but also the denizens of, the garden, like little animals, little creatures.
Like the aphids?
Oh, yeah. I'm, you know what? I got so mad the other day, and this has no bearing on anything we're talking about, but I went to Lowe's, and I wanted to get every year I get ladybugs and let them out.
I'll give you plenty of those.
They're good. Well, they're good for aphids, and all that. And this time they were just waiting to come out of the box, the package. And I let them out, and every other time they kind of fly around, and then they all kind of find a plant, and they're really happy, and, all right. This time I let them out, and there's hundreds of them in that little container. And they all of a sudden swarmed. One bit me and they were gone. Seriously.
Wait a minute, they bit you?
One of them, they bite, some of them.
Seriously?
Yeah. One of them landed on me and gave me a tiny little nip. And then 99% of them were gone. I saw one sitting on a rose, and I tried to bribe him to stay. It was just the darndest thing. So yeah,
they must have been. I can't say that word on the air, but they must have been really annoyed. I mean, I could see it on my show, but I don't know.
They should be happy. They should be happy that I freed them. So then I was going to get. They had. Oh my God, what's that other thing for the garden thing? A praying mantis. They had.
Oh yeah, they're cool too.
Yeah, and I was going to get one then instead, but then I was reading up on it, and they are very detrimental. They'll eat all kinds of things.
Yeah, they'll eat anything they can get there.
Yeah, so I give up on that. But anyway.
I mean, this year in my backyard, I've had in the springtime I had 4 deer come in. Now I'm in the houses are really close to each other here, but we have woods behind us and the river across in the front. So, but I had 4 deers. I had, I still do have 5 bunnies, cute little baby bunnies, 2 little tiny baby. And the first time I ever saw this, I had a turkey. You know, I've had turkeys, you know, like a pod of turkeys or whatever they're called, come into the yard and go strutting around. But this time there was a big turkey, and it was all little baby turkeys, little tiny turkeys. And I had never seen a baby turkey before, and it was really cool.
I wouldn't eat a turkey if I'd seen that one.
Oh, they're not the same. You got to divorce yourself from it. You know. I
try. I do.
Yeah, you have to divorce yourself from it.
Yeah, but sometimes I just.
It's like a surgeon operating in an operating room. He really has to divorce himself of the patient and just concentrate on what he's doing. You know.
Yeah, I know. I try not to eat anything that can look back at me. That's why vegetables aren't so bad.
Just rather kill turtles.
They don't have eyes. I did not. I'm not even going there again, but I did not. You have a really good memory.
Oh, I remember everything.
Yes, you do, and that scares me a little bit.
Except when I conveniently don't.
What?
I said, except when I conveniently don't.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that's a art to be able to do that. Let me throw a chat room question at you, which has nothing to do with turtles or
plants or anything.
Nothing. Yeah. She would like to know, during your research, where would you consider to be the most haunted areas in New England, and have you ever experienced anything at that location yourself?
The most haunted. That's like the most one-off phrase in the world. Every place is haunted, for God's sakes. There's so many places you just can go. One of the things I do, in fact, and I'm going to answer the question, but in a second. But one of the things that I do is I'll go to places with no stories whatsoever, just to investigate and see what I can, discover. So to me, that's the coolest thing. Like Waverly, Sanitarium, places like that don't really intrigue me at all, because they're just, really been done so many times and everything. It's just, no, it's been basically polluted is the way I look at it. But yes, the most haunted place in New England, there is not a most haunted place. There are many haunted places in New England. Some of the coolest ones was of course, I'm partial to it because I'm on the board of directors of the Portsmouth Harbor Lighthouse, and that is an excellent location. I saw a full apparition there one time, which is that I've seen full apparition 3 times in my life, and every single time that I've seen it was not during ghost hunting; it was just doing things. Mm-hmm. And Portsmouth Harbor Lighthouse, it's on a Coast Guard base. There's a Fort Constellation is on there as well, and the lighthouse. And to raise money, we do haunted tours. So we take about 25 people, take them around, tell them the stories. We do a little dowsing or whatever, just it's a tour. So we do that thing. And then one of the places we always go to is it's called the Coincidental Rangefinder, but it's basically like a blockhouse. It's a square building with windows all the way around it and one door to get in. So I had about 20 people or 25 people, and I was standing in the center of the blockhouse, and I started my spiel about what was going on and everything else. And then I looked through the window, and I saw a woman walking outside, and I watched her go from window to window. So I stopped on what I was saying because I didn't want to have to repeat myself, and I didn't want her to miss out on anything. So I waited, and I saw her completely walk all the way down the wall, all the way through the windows, very clearly towards the door. And then I waited, and nobody came in. So finally I said, is anybody out there? There was a volunteer that was by the door, and she stuck her head out, and there was another volunteer sitting outside. He says, Ed, is there anybody out there? He says, no, there's no one out here. And yet I saw her clear as day, clear enough to stop to say what I was doing and wait for her to come in. And the interesting thing about it, too, is that, as I mentioned, it's on a Coast Guard base. Well, the Coast Guard, there are many reports from the observation tower that they have like a control tower, goes dark at night. They have the red lights in it and everything else. They have all the IR monitors and everything else. They often see a woman standing on the fort's wall or on the seawall. And if they go to investigate, she just disappears. Or sometimes they'll see her in the monitor and they'll look out with the glasses and they can't see her that way. So it's kind of interesting. I saw a woman because it was clear as day. And that's also one of the things that was reported by the Coast Guard.
Yeah.
Now, who was this woman? So that's one of the things we didn't know about. There was a Fort Constellation. It's not Constitution. What is it? Oh, forget it. Anyways, me and my names, I can always, I always screw them up. Constellation, I guess. Constellation, yeah, I guess it's whatever. Anyways, so at the fort, they were having a celebration for the 4th of July, and they invited all the townspeople and everything else, and they were going to fire off some cannons and stuff. And they went to take the powder out of the powder houses, and it was wet, so they dried it out in the sun. And there were fiddlers, and there were people from the town. And then, for some unknown reason, there was an explosion, and I believe 8 people were killed. One of them was blown all the way over to the lighthouse. Oh. So, that had happened. And what we knew was that they were all boys and men. But Jeremy Dontremont, who was the lighthouse historian, was doing other researches, and he found out there's a report in one of the papers of a woman who was standing on the wall, and after the explosion, they couldn't find her. All they found was a piece of her clothing, and they never found her. So it's possible this is the woman that's being seen by the Coast Guard, and it may be the one I saw that night. Can I say it was? No, of course not. But yeah, it's an intriguing thing. That's why I love doing it. There's so many cool things.
Yeah, and it's very cool that you do those tours, those investigations for the lighthouse to keep it running and stuff. I mean, that's very noble of you. And but you do good stuff a lot. You just don't talk.
I mean, there's a lot of cool places in New England, and of course, a lot of people go to the Lizzie Borden House, which is really cool. That's always a neat place. But there's, the Houghton Mansion used to be great until that became privately owned. And the S.K. Pierce, or the Haunted Victorian, as it's called, is also a cool place. That's in Leominster, I believe.
Yeah. Don't you kind of think, and I do, that some of these places that are so common and so visited so much that there really isn't anything much there anymore? The ghosts just the spirits don't want to be bothered?
We were the first person to do an investigation in the Houghton Mansion in North Adams. Basically, there was an author that wanted to write was writing a book about haunted New England, and she wanted to write about the mansion, but the Masons who owned the mansion didn't want it in the book unless they knew it was haunted or not. They had heard some story. So we got called in to do the first investigation there. And when we did that first investigation, we found certain information and everything else, whatever. But then after that, we started doing some events with them. We did some paracons and other things there. And then eventually they started doing sleepovers there, and they did their own tours and other stuff. And then eventually it was given to Ghost Hunts America, and they ran tours out of there all the time. And I was back 3 or 4, 5, 6 times, and it changed. The energy in the whole mansion changed. And I believe that some of that was because when people go in to investigate, they also bring their own energy as well, and maybe attachments as well. Who knows? But anyways, it's definitely changed. It was not the same as it was when we did that first investigation. So
yeah,
that's one of the reasons I don't. I'm not fond of doing the most popular, the paranormal playgrounds like Waverly and other ones like that. There's tons of them.
I agree. We find better stuff in quiet places. All right, we're going to take a quick break, everybody, so stay tuned, and we will be back in about 2 minutes.
Don't go away. There's more Stirring the Cauldron with Marla Brooks right after these important messages. Missed an episode of Stirring the Cauldron? Then be sure to check out marlabrooks.com and check out the archive. And while you're there, check out Marla's weekly Witches Oracle card reading. Explore the site to find many great resources, such as information on tarot, oracle readings, metaphysical consultations, and links to all of Marla's books. That's marlabrooks.com.
I was in the hospital with my son for 18 months.
When he got injured, I wasn't prepared, but I knew I had to be strong.
When I was told about John's injury, I was in complete shock. I just remember rushing into his room and giving him a big hug and letting him know I was there.
These veterans and families are just a few of the heroes we serve at Homes for Our Troops. For thousands of severely injured veterans, everyday life is filled with barriers.
It was really the little things throughout the house. Counters that you can't roll up to. I had to drag my wheelchair down steps.
I want to help, but he is so determined.
At Homes for Our Troops, we build specially adapted custom homes with features like wheelchair access, roll-in showers, and automatic door openers that allow them to function independently and focus on their recovery and family.
This house is freedom. It's hope. It's a new beginning.
This house has given me my family back.
To learn more, visit hfotusa.org.
New Aeon Now. News and discussion of the metaphysical, the occult, the paranormal, and much, much more. With your hosts, New Aeon High Priestess, Reverend Lily Alley, head of the Dracut chapter of the Order of Paranormal Exploration, Christine Matza. The New Aeon is now. Join us every Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern for New Aeon Now.
Welcome back to Stirring the Cauldron. Once again, here's your host, Marla Brooks.
And my guest tonight is Ron Kolek, and we are talking about a whole lot of different things tonight. But I've got a follow-up question on the question that you got a little while ago about the haunted places. Is there any place on an investigation that has made you uncomfortable enough to walk away from it?
No, I've never walked away from an investigation. The most uncomfortable situation I ever had was, actually it's in our first book, Ghost Chronicles, where Maureen, who was the medium with me, we got called in to do an investigation at this house in the daytime, and we went there, just the two of us, and but the gist of it was the guy had just been released from prison for murder, and he was haunted by his victims. and so he was trying to tell us it was somebody else. But we didn't know that when we moved, when we went there. It was only afterwards. He was trying to get Maureen to come back alone without me because I'm me. So, but these guys were big too. That was the only time I was really uncomfortable, I think.
Yeah, because I've never heard you say, well, no, I won't go in there. I don't want to do that.
Oh, hell no.
Run, what is it? Run, God, run.
Dude, run.
Run, dude, run. That was it. Yeah, no, I know that you've got a good head on your shoulders. And all right, so, okay, Maureen is a medium. She picks up a lot of good stuff. I love Maureen.
Yep.
You, too, are kind of a little bit in that direction. So sometimes have you ever gone into some place and just felt like you shouldn't be there because you just had that feeling?
There are places that are nasty. I can tell you that. But I mean, part of what I do is to try to understand what's going on in these places. So no, I wouldn't. I mean, I felt I could feel the nastiness or anything, but never like I don't want to be here or I want to get out of here. Or, we've gone to some pretty interesting places, to put it that way. The Bridgewater Triangle was a interesting thing, tramping through the woods and everything. So that was interesting.
Yeah. I mean, most people, or not most, but a lot of them that I know, well, I won't set foot in that place. And, I took 3 steps in there and something evil was there. There were demons there. So, yeah, let me ask you this. Have you ever came across a demon?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you realize, and it's once again, it's in our books, Ghost Chronicles. I also accompanied the Catholic Church on exorcisms, so yeah, we've run into some third. We run into a couple of, I would guess on our own, certainly something that like, can I prove it was a demon? Of course not. But that was the conclusion that Maureen and I made. I mean, Maureen. First of all, you got to realize Maureen is a trance channeler, which means she's allows spirits to enter her body, and this, of course, is okay because for me, but because you can ask questions and learn a lot more than because you're actually speaking directly to the spirit. And it's also a little bit more dangerous, too, for her and myself. I mean, she's thrown me across the room before and other stuff like that. But, yeah.
Well, I mean, she's the real deal. You're the real deal. But, a lot of people, newbies, I guess, is a good word for them. If something goes wrong, somebody goes boo on their EVP thing, or maybe they get touched. Oh, it's a demon. It's a demon. Well, there isn't a demon around every corner, and that's
TV. TV did that.
Well, yeah, I guess.
I mean, you look at the Ghost Hunters, the original show, the Ghost Hunters, and they used to go out and they would basically either declare a place haunted or not, and then they declared some places not haunted. But then they found out that, rating-wise, that's not a good idea to go into a place and say, oh, that's not haunted. So eventually they all became haunted. And then eventually, and this happens on the other shows too, to push it up a little more, that they're all demons, they're all, it's like, no.
Well, and too, a lot of the newbies think that they can't tell the difference between a disgruntled spirit. And there are many because, if you're disgruntled here on Earth, you're probably not wearing the
That's right. There are a lot of PO'd spirits.
Yeah, exactly. And they might slap somebody or they might throw something to scare you or something. But those other people say, oh, it's a demon, it's a demon. And that just got carried away.
Isn't that the same with the Ouija board, right?
Well, sure, absolutely.
Right. I mean,
Zozo, whatever.
People won't touch the Ouija board because that's a portal to you know who you're going to get through and all that. But a lot of that is if we create the situation to allow that. is what we're doing. If we have fears on that, I mean, you shouldn't. I always tell anybody and everybody, whatever they do, whether they're out investigating with me or they're in one of my classes or one of my workshops, if you don't feel comfortable in doing something, don't do it. It's as simple as that. You shouldn't be doing it. It's not a good idea. So that's the rule of thumb you should go by. If you're not comfortable in a place, leave it. That's nothing wrong with that. That's smart, if you ask me. It's the way it is. Don't do things you're not comfortable with.
Yeah.
And certainly don't do it impaired in any way with either anything, or even if you're not feeling well. I mean, I remember not Laurie Cabot. Who's the other one? The witch from Salem. She's
the little short one, the Italian one.
Yeah, the Italian one.
Oh my God,
Cecilia. I can't think of her name.
Oh, now I can't either. I've had her on my show.
Yeah,
she's terrible.
I know it, but she always says, like, she's gone to different places, and if she's not feeling well, she's learned not to engage in certain things because she's been basically beat up before because she wasn't feeling well, and she couldn't, her body and her psyche and whatever else to use to combat it wasn't strong enough. So I mean, it's about strength in a lot of these things.
Yeah, no, I mean, you got to.
Isn't that terrible? We can't think of her name.
Laurie Bruno.
No, not Laurie.
Wait, Bruno.
Yes, Laurie Bruno. Yeah, bingo. You're the girl.
Oof, that was bad.
You did good. I didn't get it.
Well, I've been racking my brain, and that could be dangerous.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love her. She's just so outspoken. She's like a little tiny bit of dynamite.
Oh, she is tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I've met her in person a few times too. So
yeah, lucky. She's a nice lady. She really is. I'm going to switch things a little bit because I want you to, since we're talking about ghosts and everything, I want you to talk a little bit about Spirit Quest 2022.
All right, if we have to.
Yeah, you have to.
But I don't want to go too much into it. But
just basic is fine.
Yeah, basically, it's now Spirit Quest is an event that I've been doing for the past, I think, 11 years now. I might have missed a year, so it might be 12. I'm not sure. Whatever. Anyways, and it's a weekend event. You don't have to come the whole weekend. You can come during the day, come during the night. There's different things, and it's not a Paracon. I don't give it that name. It's really not a Paracon. Basically, it's I like a paranormal retreat, I guess is a good word for it. That's as close as I could think of. Like a Friday night, we have a mystery dinner. We always have kind of a special event. And, we have Chinese food, and it's dress up, so people will dress up in different things. The theme of this year's, by the way, is called Twilight Zone. It's based on the Twilight Zone episodes and stuff, so all the things involved in it are kind of related to stories that were in the Twilight Zone. And so that's on Friday night, and then on Saturday we have a list of speakers. That's, like Steve Parsons from the UK will be there, and we have Lance Anderson, who wrote, he's a good guy you should get for the show. He's a very good guest, actually. He wrote Life in the Morgue.
Oh.
He was a mortician, and he's had some experiences there. Roxy Zwicker, of course, is amazing. She'll be there as well. Maureen's going to be talking about precognition, whatever that is. And, we've got a good slate of guests, their other guests as well. And then in the evening, sometimes we do a ghost hunt. We will be doing one of the phases. There's like 3 or 4 different events that we do at the night, so that we rotate people through. One of them will be what's it called? Oh man, it's not an escape room. It's something like that. But yeah, it's based on a Twilight Zone. It's like an escape room, but it's not. It's I can't think of it. It's on the website if you check it out, indieghostproject.com. The we also will be doing ghost traps. Steve and I will be doing ghost traps, which is going to be cool. It's a workshop, so you can build your own ghost trap. We will have an investigation at a haunted house, so that you can do that, and we'll probably have a seance as well. So, so that's all on Saturday night, and then on Sunday morning is a special workshop for just people that bought weekend passes. That's with Steve and I and Dylan from the UK, and in the afternoon we'll be doing a all afternoon workshop on the power of the mind, where we look at ESP, astral projection, psychometry, photo psychometry, remote viewing. So that'll be all part of the workshop on Sunday. So that's kind of what it is. It's a weekend of different taste of different things.
And different things that you're not going to find at a normal con. I mean,
No.
It's really wonderful, and I wish you'd come out and have one here.
Well, maybe I do. We'd have to have a venue, though.
It's L.A. We can find a venue.
L.A.
Not so bad. Not so bad. There are a lot of haunted places and unhaunted places, and anyway.
We should do you by a guy with the dead tours there.
Yeah, with Scott Michaels, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, well, pack your bag. All right, I'm going to change the subject a little bit. Oh, wait, when is it, by the way? And we're giving.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Give them the address again. I mean, the website.
Yeah. It's September 30th from September 30th, October 1st, and October 2nd. And like I said, you can come for like Friday night. You can come Saturday in the daytime, Saturday at night. Sunday in the afternoon. Those are all a la carte events, or you can just get a weekend pass and just do it a weekend. We also limit the number of tickets too, because it's not like a Paracon. We don't want 100 people there. We keep it a pretty intimate crowd, and so that's kind of, to me, it's like a reunion. A lot of same people go there. We have people from all over that come that. Look forward to it every year. There's a girl from New York. She as soon as the tickets are on sale, she's the first one to buy it every year. She's a producer for one of the, I think NBC or something in New York, but she always comes. But yeah, so check it out. NEGhostProject.com, the letter N, the letter E, ghostproject.com. It's Spirit Quest 2022, The Twilight Zone.
Anyway.
We've done all different themes. We did Angels and Demons. We did X-Files.
Witches and who?
Oh yes, we did. The witch one. I forget what that was called. But yeah, we did the Blair Witch Ghost Hunt. Was a blast, by the way.
It had to be.
Yeah.
Anything else? Yeah. So every year
it's at Beasley State in Groveland, which is an old. It was a converted. It was owned by a Haverhill Industrialist, and it was his cottage that it was up there originally, like a hunting lodge, and then eventually it was bought by the nuns who ran. They built a church and everything there, and it was used for the Danvers, the women and their children from Danvers. That they took them in and took care of them there, and eventually became a children's camp as well. So it has a long record. Yeah, interesting record too.
Pretty good. All right, now I'm going to switch over to something that people might not expect from you, but and it's certainly not it could be paranormal, maybe.
It is. I'm doing it.
Yeah. So I want you to tell everybody about the affection connection.
The affection connection.
Yes.
Yes, I'm the lifeguard of love. Yes. It's a show that we do. It's on Facebook Live, and it has its own page called The Affection Connection, oddly enough. It's also on the Net New England Talk Radio. So it's Lou Blasi, who produces the show and is one of the co-hosts. And St. Jan, my darling wife, and myself. And once in a while, we also have a psychologist as well that will join us, Dr. Kim. And we answer questions on relationships, everything from marital, boyfriend, girlfriend, work, neighbor, you name it, it's in there. And we give our opinions. That's basically what it's like. People send us these questions and we answer them.
You're kind of like a group of Dear Abbeys, right?
Oh, it is. You have the opinion of all of us, and none of us are professional except for Dr. Kim, of course. But, we give our opinions, and, that's what it is.
Okay. Well, I'm going to only interrupt because I'm going to forget to ask this, but so you're all different people. You all have different thought processes about different things, and that's probably what makes the affection connection so good because there's so many different answers. But you and St. Jan have been married for many, many years. Do you
many years.
And you'd love it. So what?
I think it's like 350 in dog years.
That'll work. So do you guys usually come up with the same answer?
Hell no.
Okay. All right.
In all fairness, there are some times when all three of us will agree on a certain thing. I mean, we get some really unusual questions. We get, questions about sex. We get questions about, all kinds of things, whatever. But we always come up with, our own opinions. And sometimes we do agree. And a lot of times we don't. We have our own different thoughts and viewpoint on certain ideas. And, of course, the questions, since they're not live, there's nobody that calls in. Although you can, by the way, you can call in. And the original first show, we did have some people call in. But it's hard sometimes because we have a question and we don't know all the details that go along with this question, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So the background of certain people and stuff like that. So it's little, it's kind of cool to do. It's certainly fun. I enjoy it. Jan enjoys it, so does Lou. So, yeah.
So people can find it where and when again?
It's called The Affection Connection. You can go on the Facebook page. There's a Facebook page. That's the best way to catch it. Or I don't even know if it's on our website, Indie Ghost Project. I gotta make sure it gets on there though. It's only once a month, by the way.
Mm.
It's usually the first Wednesday of the month at 11 o'clock. And
you have so many shows going. It's a wonder you can tell one from the other.
Yeah, I know it. Because, there's Ghost Chronicles, Ghost Chronicles Next Generation, Ghost Chronicles International, Affection Connection, as well as the TV broadcast that we do on Next Generation as well.
Yeah.
So, we have a few.
Monday morning is the one that's on TV, right?
That's on Facebook.
Okay.
That's Facebook Live. You can see us. That's it.
Yeah, you can't get away with murder. Being, you can't roll your eyes or anything.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, have you ever known me not to express my own opinions?
Never, and that's why I like you so much. For better or for worse.
For better or worse, exactly. Take me or leave me, but don't ignore me.
Well, you can't be ignored. That's whatever. All right, one more thing I want to bring up that most people might not know about you.
Mm-hmm.
Might think strange, and again, it's not
strange
or normal, but you're a big fan of Downton Abbey.
Now, why is that strange?
Because it just, I don't know, it just is. It caught me off guard. I was really happy about it. I see you in the pictures and everything else. But I don't know. I just, that's a side of you that I just never thought about. So have you seen the new movie yet?
Of course we had. Well, as soon as it came out, I went with Jan and her sister. We went to dinner and then went to the movie, which is great. How I got into it, which is, I have my house, the living room, and off the living room is a small office that I have there, and I also have a office at BC, but this is the home office. So I used to be in there and working and everything else, and she'd have that on PBS when it was on, and I would hear it, and I started getting intrigued by it, and so fun. And of course, I love British TV, anyways. So so I started watching it, and then that was it. I got hooked on it. So love it.
Yeah,
absolutely love it. Love the characters. Love the.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, to me, there is no comparison of British TV to American TV. I watched Hercule Poirot, Agatha Christie's, in the English version, and then I never realized this, but the Americans made their own version. Well, and it was horrid compared to the British version. They just can't do the dialogue, and that's the interesting thing about British TV is they don't do a lot of blowing up things or a lot of action stuff, but the dialogue is simply amazing, and the little innuendos and all that stuff is just awesome. So
I've got BritBox and Acorn TV.
Oh, do you really? Oh, good for you. Have you?
Yeah.
You watched Inspector Lewis?
No, I haven't yet.
You got to. That's a great show as well.
But we got like 1 minute. But the guy, oh my God, Fellows, who writes Downton Abbey, did one for America, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that one?
No.
He did a whole series. I'll talk to you about that later. It is so good.
Jan and I met Jim Carter, too.
I know. I was jealous right then. I really was. All right. We're going to have to go. Time flies when we're having fun. But again, where can people find you and your shows and all that goodie?
You can always join me on Facebook, Ron Kolek on Facebook, and all of the radio shows are on Facebook as well, all the Ghost Chronicle radio shows. You certainly, if you want to find out more and support us as well, our radio shows, you can join us on Ghost Chronicles Radio on Patreon. I think there's about 40 videos on there now. And also, anyghostproject.com, the letter N, the letter E, ghostproject.com. All
right. Well, again, thank you.
Thank you.
You were overdue anyway, so glad you made it, and we'll get you back again. And thank you, everybody, for listening in tonight. Always appreciate it. And until next time, everybody, blessed be, and merry meet again. Good night.
This has been another edition of Stirring the Cauldron with Marla Brooks. Be sure to tune in next week at the same time for another great guest and more fun. Any rebroadcast or other use of this program without permission is strictly prohibited. Copyright 2009.
You have been listening to the Para X Radio Network.